ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ तत्सत् ॐ नमः शिवाय गुड
Om
मॉर्निंग
Tat
हरि
Sat
ओम
Hari Om.
Okay, so we had completed Karika number 17 and we are on Karika number 18 of the first chapter, Agama Prakaranam of Mandukya Upanishad. So we will chant Karika 18. Please unmute yourself. Vikalpo vinivarteta
विकल्पो
Vikalpo
विनिवर्तेत
Nivarteta
कल्पितो यदि केनचित्
कल्पितो
Kalpito
यदि केनचित्
उपदेशादयं वादः
उपदेशादयं वादः
ज्ञाते द्वैतं न विद्यते.
Nyate
ज्ञाते द्वैतं न विद्यते।
So in the previous karikas, we saw that one objection by the Purvapakshi was eliminated by showing that it is jnanam which eliminates the delusion of duality, Dvaita Brahmam. Now the Purvapakshi has one more question. He says the Guru and Shastra are existing divisions. Vikalpaha they are, right? The Shastra, Shastram, Shishya, etc. is the teacher, the teaching, and the student. They are all divisions only. So as long as these divisions exist, how will duality? How will this Triputi? What is Triputi? Shastra the teacher, Shastram the teaching, and Shishya the student. These three are always there. And how will they go away? We know the answer already. We are all advanced students. These divisions apparently exist. They are mithya, right? We will experience the divisions, but experience of mithya cannot disturb the knowledge of Advaita. So that is, for example, we in daily lives we see the sunrise and the sunset. There is an experience of sunrising and sunsetting, but we know that it doesn't really take place. In other words, the satyam is that there is no sunrise, there is no sunset. It is just the earth rotating. But what is the experience? Experience is you actually see. The reality is there is no sunrise and there is no sunset. So the same idea. The experience cannot dislodge knowledge. Okay. So but here the Purvapakshi is saying that the very idea of knowledge includes the teacher, the teaching, and the student. The idea of duality is built into the very term knowledge, right? And because when we talk about knowledge, what are the things? The knower, the object of knowledge, as well as the pramanam for knowledge. These are the things which we have, right? Okay. Then, so you cannot talk about jnanam without the knower-known duality. We cannot talk about jnanam at all. Therefore, the question arises that if jnanam is that which you are saying is which eliminates Dvaitam and brings you to Advaitam, but there is a contradiction there, says the Purvapakshi, because the knowledge itself, the jnanam itself, rests upon the Triputi, which is duality only, which is Dvaitam only. How can Advaitam remain when it is rooted into Dvaitam? That is what he says. This is the objection of the Purvapakshi. And this particular karika is replying to that. So all this objection you have to take into account. So Gaudapada in his karika says, Yadi vikalpo kenachit kalpitaha. Yadi vikalpaha, if these divisions, this duality, kenachit, by somebody, kalpitaha, was created or was projected. So if these divisions were really created or projected by somebody, then Vinivarteta, then the discussion can take place about it going away. Vinivarteta means elimination. So you can say that it will go away afterwards. But what is the reality? That there is no such division at all. And therefore, all this talk which we do in class, I am Vadaha, he says, all these discussions, all these class discussions, all these sessions are what? Upadeshat, for teaching purposes only, because jnati, as soon as Atmajnanam is assimilated, Dvaitam na vidyate, there will be no duality seen at all. So he's talking about the initial Adhyaropa Prakaranam. There is a way of teaching in the Shastram. The Shastram first temporarily accepts duality. This triputi of Shastram, Shishya, teacher, teaching, and student, is first accepted by the scriptures. For what purposes? For the sake of the teaching itself. That's what he says. Upadeshat, for the sake of the teaching, because teaching has to be done. And once the teaching has been assimilated, once it is successful, then the student will understand that even though he has been taught using duality, jnate, he has understood now, dvaitam na vidyate, that there will never be a knower known duality. Not even the Shishya Shastra duality is there. So what goes away is the delusion of differences, the vikalpa brahmaha, the delusion of differences. What is the delusion? That there is some sort of triputi, that there is some sort of duality, that goes away. And one very important idea from here is that after gaining jnanam, once you have gained atma jnanam, the idea is that you cannot claim that you are a jnani. Why is that so? No jnani can ever claim that I am jnani.
Because it means that the other is not, so then it again reflects Dvaitam, that there is another who is not. So that means it is.
Yeah, so the term jnani is a person who knows jnanam, and if you say I am a jnani, you are admitting duality itself, right? There is some jnanam, there is some jnani, there is somebody who has taught me, all this you are admitting. Then who am I? I am Brahman, I am Turyam, which has no vikalpa at all, always free from the knower known divisions. Okay, another subtle point here. When Jnani says that I am a non-dual Advaitic, or I am a non-dual, or I am an Advaitic. Let us say I tell you that I am Advaitic. Remember that it doesn't mean that I don't experience Dvaitam. It simply means that I am negating Dvaitam as the reality, though I continue to experience Dvaitam. So Dvaitam experience continues for Jnani also. But the difference between us and the Jnani is that the Jnani will not attribute Satyam to Dvaitam. The Jnani will understand that the world is very born body, all the people he knows, they are all mithya only. Right? So, one another corollary from there. If the Jnani comes to Advaitam, the Jnani of course comes to Advaitam. So, when he gets his Atma Jnanam, supposing for him the literal meaning of the word negation takes place. So that if you come to Advaitam or you become a Jnani, On becoming a jnani, the entire universe is negated. For you, it doesn't appear to you anymore. Right? Because that's an interpretation which you see in some books, some teachers, they say that the moment you are a jnani, everything disappears for you. Only you are there. If that happens to me, supposing I'm a jnani, that happens to me, then remember that in that state of absolute Advaitam, the idea that I am a knower, that I know that I am a jnani, that also will not be there. And therefore there can be no teaching at all. So very many arguments are used to say that these sort of interpretations where you say that jnana means everything is negated, the negation is only intellectually. Experience of the pluralistic world continues. If that doesn't happen, there can be no jnani teacher. Because teaching involves Shastra, Shastram, and Shishya. Teacher, teaching, and student. Right? So that's why Vedanta again and again says perception does not prove reality. And there are so many examples. One was the sunrise, sunset, which I gave you. Another is that when you look at the ocean, the water is blue. But when you take the water in your hand, you will find that there is no color. The blueness is mithya. You see the blue sky above the earth. There is no blue sky. You think when you stand on the earth, you say that I am stationary. The earth is not stationary. So perception does not disprove reality. Perception is one side, reality can be absolutely opposite. Similarly, the jnani also perceives duality all around because he teaches, his body is there, he eats, he walks, he talks, he builds ashrams. Therefore, he also perceives duality, he experiences duality, he interacts with duality, but he knows that that duality is not the satyam, it is all mithya only. Why is that so? Because our indriyas, our sense organs, are not designed to perceive paramarthika satyam. Brahman, Atma cannot be perceived. Consciousness cannot be perceived. All the indriyas, all the sense organs are designed to see the world of empirical facts. The Vyavaharika Satyam only they can see. And Vyavaharika Satyam does not reveal Paramarthika Satyam. Vyavaharika Satyam can be experienced. Paramarthika Satyam has to be understood. What is the Paramarthic truth? Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam. Chaturtham manyante sa atma sa vigneyaha. With this, the analysis of the mantra is over. Seventh mantra is over. And if you remember the discussions in the beginning classes, I had mentioned that the Mandukya Upanishad has two types of enquiries. One is the enquiry into the Atma. That is the four parts, four padas, which we call Chatushpada Atma Vicharaha. And there was another inquiry which I talked about, which is the inquiry into the four parts of Omkara. Chaturmatra Omkara Vicharaha. And we have now completed the inquiry of Atma Vicharaha with the seventh mantra and all the related karikas. That is over. So with the eighth mantra onwards, we will commence the next inquiry, which is what? Inquiry into the Omkara itself. So look at the eighth mantra, we will read. Soyam atmadyaksharam omkarodhimatram
सोऽयमात्मा
अक्षरम् ओङ्कारोऽस्मि मात्रम्
पादा मात्र मात्राश्च
पादमात्रमात्राश्च
मात्राश्च
पादा अकार उकार मकार इति.
पादा
पादा
अकार उकार मकार इति.
इति.
So the first word has to be broken up carefully. It's a longish word, compound word. So I'll give it to you. Saha ayam atma. Saha ayam atma. Omkaraha adhyaksharam adimatram. Okay, this is the break. Now let us look at the individual meanings. So, kara is a word very often used in Sanskrit. What does it mean actually? Sorry?
Can you please repeat, Acharyaji? Couldn't.
The word kara. We come so many times, like akara, makara, omkara. What does that kara mean?
When we refer to that we say it is akara.
What does it mean? What does akara mean?
It's the
Form.
form.
Akara means form. So akara means that alphabet in the form of a. मकारा मीन्स दैट अल्फाबेट जिसका आकार है म, which is in the form of ma. Similarly, ukara means that alphabet which has got the akara, the form of u. Okay. So now we are entering into the omkara vichara. And this analysis will be done for the next, from this mantra on till the last mantra of the Upanishad, which is actually mantra number 12. Plus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 5 mantras will carry out the Omkara analysis. And what does the Shruti say? It says that the word Om is a word which has one syllable. Right? Om. When you pronounce, it is Om, one syllable. And this monosyllable word has got four parts, four padas, just like the Atma. In the case of the Atma, what were the four parts referred to as?
Chatushpada.
Chatushpada, four padas. In the word Om, the parts are called matras. Chatushmatra, Chaturmatra. Okay. So here in this mantra, there is a description of the four matras, the four parts. So this technical word, let us remember, pada refers to the four aspects of Atma. It's not really correct to say parts. Four aspects of Atma. Matra refers to the four aspects of Omkara. And first is Akara. Right? Now the word Akara, remember that in the English language, there is no at all. You agree?
Yes.
The most frequently misrepresented word is A. A is definitely not a. Okay, so that you must remember. So in that respect, the very composition of the English language discourages the study of Vedanta. You can't really, unless you translate. That's why we keep on saying you must have at least a little knowledge of Sanskrit, if not that, at least of Hindi. Now, in the most of the Indian languages, which is usually the first letter? Uh. You see, most of the languages, I'm not saying all, most of them will find that is the first letter, right? It is not A, it is A. And therefore, because of this, and also one more thing, when the baby opens its mouth first, what is the first sound produced? And therefore, Shastra says is the most significant letter of the alphabet because It is the first sound which is produced when you open your mouth. Okay, so akara, that is the first matra. Then second matra is ukara. Again, you will know that U is not there in the English language. And U is definitely not U. Okay. Now, in terms of the rules of combination in Sanskrit grammar, Sandhi, when the letter A and the letter U are joined, A is phonetic, U is phonetic. When they are joined phonetically, which is what we call Sandhi, then the whole thing changes into a new letter called O. So A plus U is O, right? That is the second matra. The third matra is makara, the half letter, the half consonant. Ma. Right? So when you say makara, it is the consonant is ma and ma is makara. The extension becomes makara. And therefore, when all the three come together, all the three matras come together, you have a plus u plus ma, which gives you om. Right? Then om is represented by a special syllable. You can, of course, also write as om. That's nothing wrong with that. O plus half ma, that also you can write. But special syllable which we see everywhere is the om. Now, strictly speaking, when you write in English, you will see a lot of people writing AUM. What are they doing when they write AUM? They have not understood the Sandhi aspect at all. So they have not only that, they have not understood that A is not A, U is not U, and therefore they write AUM. If you have to write in English, you rather not, but you have to write in English, you should write OM, OM, and definitely not AUM, because AUM leads to all sort of pronunciations like all that. I've heard people saying aum and very frantically defending that statement that AUM is aum. There is no pronunciation in Sanskrit of this particular word as aum. It is simply om. That is because of the Sandhi rule. A plus O is O. Okay. Three matras we have talked about. A, U, Ma. What is the fourth matra? Because we said four matras. What is
Ama, amatra, amatra.
a matra? What does a matra mean?
The silence between the
A matra means that which has no matra. So there is silence which follows after Om. And that is why when we pronounce Om, you say Om. Then you stop. And the next Om doesn't emerge from Ma. It emerges from the Amatra, the silence. Since there are four matras in Om and four padas in Atma, Shruti says you can equate each part of the Atma to each matra of the Om. The Atma's padas can be equated to the Omkara's matras. Why should you do this? Because once you equate Atma and Om, right? When you chant Om in meditation, you must have understood very correctly, very thoroughly how each matra relates to each pada. When that happens, the moment you chant Om, as and when you are chanting the Om, remember your mind is moving through the four matras. A, U, Ma, a matra, right? As you chant the four matras, the four padas of Atma should also come into your mind by the law of association. Because you associated each matra with a particular pada. And therefore you can either meditate upon the three padas or you can also meditate upon the fourth pada. a matra, which is equated to Turiam, right? Thus, for Turiam meditation, Brahman meditation, Shruti says Omkara is the ideal symbol. You can't visualize Brahman, so you visualize Omkara. And that is why Omkara analysis is equal to Atma analysis. When you analyze Atma, you will come to the basic pure consciousness Turiam. And therefore, Omkara analysis will lead to the three matra analysis, analysis will lead to the fourth matra, amatra, which is pure silence, which is Turiam itself. Right? A very important idea that silence is the Atma, Brahman, consciousness, which is your real nature. Therefore, the moment you open your mouth, there is samsara, right? For both you and for the more so for the person who listens to you. So this is what is the going to be seen in this particular mantra. So let us look at the mantra. Saha ayam atma. This atma, saha ayam atma. This atma. What does it mean? This atma which we have analyzed in great detail in the first 7 mantras and the 18 karikas, all that to supply. That atma, Omkaraha, is none other than Omkaraha. Right? How can you say Atma is Omkaraha? So he says Adhyaksharam. Adhyaksharam is from the standpoint of the total word, Adi Aksharam. Right? From the standpoint of the total word, when the entire compound word Om is taken, then that Om is equal to Atma. Right? Adhyaksharam, from the Adi Aksharam point of view, from the whole word point of view, Atma is equal to Omkara. Adhimatram, from the standpoint of the individual matras. What are the matras? A, U, Ma. Right. From the standpoint of the individual matras, Akara, Ukara, Makara, Iti. There are 3 matras, Akara, Ukara, Makara. So the whole word is Om, consisting of the 3 matras, Akara, Ukara, Makara, Ma. But of course, you have to add what? You have to add the amatra also, because that is also there. Not mentioned in the mantra, but you have to add. Right? It's not mentioned because you don't pronounce it. And pada matra, the 4 padas of Atma, matra, are actually equal to the 4 matras of Omkara. So pada matra means padas are nothing but matra. And he emphasizes it further. Matra pada. Matras are nothing but the padas. The two-way emphasis is given. The 4 padas are equated to the 4 matras. The 4 matras are nothing but the 4 padas. Of course, here we should add a small note for our own mental satisfaction. At the Vyashti level, the 4 padas are what?
Vishwa Tejasa Prana
Vishva, Tejasa, Prajna,
and Turiam.
and Turi. At the Samashti level, what are the 4 padas?
Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Antaryami, and
And Brahman.
Brahman.
Okay, so that is the equation. Vishwa is equal to Virat, Tajasa is equal to Hiranyagarbha, Prajna is equal to Antaryami, Turyam is equal to Brahman. At the Vyashti and the Samashti levels. This we should remember. Now he goes to the next mantra. We will read mantra number 9. Jagritasthano Vaishvanarokaraha.
जागरितस्थानो वैश्वनरोकारः
प्रथमा मात्राप्ते आप्तेरादिमत्वा द्वा apnoti ha.
प्रथमा
मात्रा
वाप्नोति
वाप्नोति
वै सर्वान् कामान् आदिश्च भवति
अवै
सर्वान् कामानादिश्च भवति
य एवं वेद.
य
एवं वेद
So the first word has run into each other, so let us separate them. Jagrata sthanaha Vaishvanaraha Akaraha Prathama Matra. Okay, so that you have to break it there. Jagrata Sthanaha Vaishvanaraha Akaraha Prathama Matra. Right. Then Aptehe Va Adimatvat Yah Veda Evam Apnoti Havai Sarvan Kaman Chabhavati Adi. So that is the whole breakup. Let us look at them. So Akaraha Prathama Matra. The A sound in the word Om. And you should remember that the A sound is not heard, is not audible when you say Om. It is present there, but it is not audible. So A sound is the Prathama Matra. So the letter A should be equated to which pada? The first pada of Atma, which you already see is what? Jagrata Sthanaha Vaishvanaraha. This simply means two aspects, Vishwa at the Vyashti level and Virat at the Samashti level. So the equation has to be carried out both ways. You have to equate Akara, the A sound, to Vishwa at Vyashti level and Virat at Samashti level. Right? So when you equate something to something, what is the basis for any equation? That there must be, like for example, you equate, let us say, the Indian flag to the country, right? So that symbol you are using for representing something. And you can't choose a symbol at random, right? When you choose a symbol for something, the symbol and the object being represented must have some common features. Why so? Because of the common features, you will associate the symbol with the object, and therefore, whenever you see the symbol, you will you will remember the object also, right? What are some examples? The green color, right, means what?
prosperity.
Prosperity, money, right? And therefore, why does it mean so? Because in the old days, if you had a lot of crops and trees, etc., you're wealthy. So there was a lot of greenery, right? That way, that kind of association has to be there. So he says, aptehe. Apta means to pervade. So aptehe. The A is being represented, using the symbol used to represent both Vishwa and Virat, because aptehe, that A pervades both Vishwa and Virat. Right? Not only that, Virat, when you say Virat is all pervading and Akara is all pervading. So that is the first common feature. Virat is all pervading because Virat means the universe, and whatever is there in the universe is pervaded by Virat Ishvara. Therefore, Virat is pervading. Similarly, Akara is pervading in all the words also. That is the first point. How do you say Akara is pervading in all the words? Because the first sound based formed from when you open the mouth is called A. And in Shiksha Shastra, which we have already seen, where
Taitriya.
Taittiriya. In Shiksha Shastram, A is the basic sound, right? Because Shastram says that when you open your mouth, It is the first sound which is formed. And that very same sound, you show your teeth like that, it becomes E, E, right? And if you round the lips, oo. What is the basis? This basis is itself. And therefore, is the very raw material which transforms into all other alphabets. Is the karanam, which transforms into all the other alphabets, which is the karyam. And karanam pervades all karyam. Therefore, pervades all the alphabets. And Virat Ishvara pervades all the entire universe. Therefore, Aptehe. Both are all pervading. That is the first common feature. Then Adimatva. Adimat. Adimat means firstborn. Virat is firstborn and so is Akara. Of course, you must remember that Virat is firstborn for the Sthula universe. Literally speaking, what is firstborn in the Srishti?
Hiranyagarbha.
Hiranyagarbha. Right. So the Devata here for is Virat Brahman, Virat Ishvara. And just as Virat Ishvara is the Karanam for the whole creation, the letter E is the Karanam for all the alphabetic letters. Therefore, is Sarvavyapi, pervading everything. Similarly, Virat is also Sarvavyapi. Therefore, is Virat. This is the common feature. And we saw that second common feature is that both Virat and are firstborn. Right. Therefore, Shruti says meditate upon Akara as being identical to Virat. So for this meditation, the sound is taken as the symbol or the alambanam or the pratikam for Virat Ishvara, which is also Vishwarupa Ishvara. Right? So for meditating upon Vishwarupa Ishvara, you don't need any sound, any symbol at all, excepting the sound the matra And therefore, with sufficient amount of meditation, your our minds will get trained in such a way that the moment you say the associated Ishvara, Vishwarupa Ishvara, Virat Ishvara will also be remembered. And then when you meditate, you should meditate upon the common features, the firstborn as well as the all pervading. Right? So there is an Upanishad called not Upanishad, it's an Aranyakam called Aitreya Aranyakam, where it says Akaro vai sarvavakaha. That's a very clear Shruti statement giving what we have just said, that Akara pervades all sounds. Akaro vai sarvavak. It is a Aitreya Aranyakam, not the Upanishad. So these two things are there. Virat is firstborn, Virat is all pervading. Therefore, Virat pervades the universe. So we call it Artha Prapancha. Virat is pervading the Artha Prapancha. Akara is pervading the universe of words, Shabda Prapancha. When you say Artha Prapancha, what does Artha represent? We are all advanced students. We should be able to catch it immediately.
The objects.
Objects. So Virat pervades Artha Prapancha, the world of objects. Akara pervades Shabda Prapancha, the world of sounds. Right? Evam Veda. For the person who does Upasana in this particular manner, the phalam is given. What is that? Apnoti havai sarvan kama. For him, all the worldly results will be available, will be fulfilled. All his desires will be fulfilled. And Shankara adds over here, Mahatam Bhavati. He becomes the Adi Mahatam Bhavati. He becomes the first among all the great persons. Mahatam is great persons. So among all the great persons in the universe, this person becomes Adi. Adi Bhavati. So two phalams are there. Apnoti Havai Sarvan Kaman. All desires are fulfilled. And Adi Bhavati, he becomes the first among all the great people in the world. This is the result of Sakama or Nishkama Upasana.
Sakama.
Sakama Upasana. But you can do the same thing in a Nishkama manner also. What is the benefit of Nishkama Upasana?
Chitta Shuddhi.
They get Chitta Shuddhi, which means in this particular context, he will get the capacity to equate, to arrive at the Aikyam between Akara and Vishwa for the meditation, right? And later on, when he practices Vedantic meditation, even as his mind chants Omkara, Virat Hiranyagarbha Antaryami will automatically come to the mind. And when his mind reaches the Akara stage, he will be coming to the substratum, the Chaitanyam Adhishthanam stage, which is Turi. Right? Without this training, what is the training? That thorium is the very consciousness principle, which is the basis of the other three, Virat, Hiranyagarbha and Antaryami. Thorium pervades Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Antaryami. It is a very substratum. Without that training, remember that when you come to thorium, in your meditation, when you come to the silence, if you are not trained in this manner, the silence is blankness. But if you are trained in the manner, the silence represents consciousness. There's a big difference. If you are not trained, when you come to the silence, there will be one question which you cannot answer. What is that question? Who is witnessing the blankness? That question you cannot answer. But you have trained your mind to come to consciousness, then that question is answered already, because it is consciousness principle which is the witness of blankness. So this is the benefit of Omkara Dhyana for both the Sakama meditator and the Nishkama meditator. So any questions before we go to mantra number 10? Okay.
Acharya, I just wanted to share that whenever you say this, I just think of that strike through font where that straight line goes through the all the letters.
Letters. It is the very basis. Yeah. Okay. Let us look at mantra number 10. We will chant. Swapnasthaijasa ukaraha. Sorry, Swapnasthanasthaijasa ukaraha.
Swapnasthanasthaijasakaaraha.
Swapnasthanasthaijasa ukaraha.
Swapnasthanasthaijasakaaraha.
Dvitiya matraha.
द्वितीयमात्रः
Utkarshad ubhayatvad. Utkarshad ubhayatvad va. Utkarshati havai jnana santatim.
वै ज्ञानसन्ततिम्
Samanascha bhavati.
समानश्च भवति
Nasya brahma vitkule bhavati.
नास्य ब्रह्मविद्कुले भवति
Evam veda.
य एवं वेद
So again, that breakup is necessary to prevent any confusion. Swapnasthanaha taijasaha dvitiya matra ukaraha. Right? So that is the breakup of the first part with little rearrangement. Swapnasthanaha taijasaha dvitiya matra ukaraha. Then utkarshat va ubhayatvat. Utkarshati havai ज्ञान संततिम च भवति समानः अस्य कुले भवति न अब्रह्मवित् यह वेद एवं. So this is the breakup. Let us now look. Swapnasthanah Tejasah. Tejasah, whose sthanam is Swapnaha. What does it mean when you say that Tejasah, whose place is Swapnaha? Sthanam is place or field of operation. So in Swapnaha, Atma is associated with Tejas. The associated Atma is called Tejasaha. Associated with what? With the
Ukar.
with the Swapna Prapancha, the dreamer, etc. All the objects in the dream world, the Atma which is associated with that is called Tejasaha. You have to remember Tattvabodha over here, right? And Ukaro Dvitiya Matraha is equated with the Dvitiya Matraha, the second matra of Om, which is Ukaraha. Therefore, Ukaraha is the symbol for invoking the second pada of Atma, Tejasaha and Hiranyagarbha. Tejasaha at the Vyashti level, Hiranyagarbha at the Samashti level. For the purpose of meditating. When you say invoking, you are doing dhyanam, meditation. And for this meditation also, like in the previous one, there are two features which are common. Utkarshat. Utkarshaha means superior. So Utkarshat, this because of the superiority of Hiranyagarbha over Virat. Why is Hiranyagarbha superior to Virat?
Because it is the total. Uh, um,
From Hiranyagarbha, that Virat.
It is the Karanam for Virat. The Karanam is always superior to the Karyam. Right? So since Hiranyagarbha is Karanam and Virat is Karyam, Utkarshat, that Karanam is superior to the Karyam. Right? So from the subtle world alone, the gross world is formed. So in terms of science, before the Big Bang, there was a singularity. Singularity is a nice word for saying what? I don't know anything about it. Right? Scientists, when they say singularity, they mean the state of no information, which is another way of saying I am ignorant of it. So we call it avyakta maya. At least we have a more clear idea. We don't say we don't know anything. We say it is avyakta maya. And that avyakta maya alone becomes vyakta jagat, which is Virat. Avyakta maya is Hiranyagarbha for us. Not only that, at the time of Pralayam, Virat will resolve into Hiranyagarbha. Thus, the Sukshma Prapancha, Hiranyagarbha, is Karanam. Sthula Prapancha is Karya. Right? And U, remember the word starting with U. There are many words that start with U. Utkrishtaha, Uttamam, all are used to reveal a superior status. Right? Ubhayatvadva. So, this Ubhayatvad, there are two things. Ubhaya means what? Two. Right? What are the two? You have to understand carefully. If the three padas are being talked about, there are two, that is Virat and what?
Prajna.
Virat and Antaryami are the two padas. What is in the middle?
Hiranyagarbha.
Hiranyagarbha. Right? If the Vyashti is being talked about, there is Vishwa and Prajna. What is in the middle?
Tejasa.
Rajasa. Right? So Ubhayatvad means both are in the middle. Rajasa is in the middle of Vishwa and Prajna. Hiranyagarbha is in the middle of Virat and Ishvara, Antaryami. And U is in the middle of
Oh, and Ma.
Earn. So these are two common features. Right. Therefore, Ukara has to be connected to Akara and Makara. So basically you're saying that Taijasa is the link between Vishwa and Prajna. Hiranyagarbha is the link between Virat and Antaryami. So the two common features to repeat again. One is that Hiranyagarbha is superior to Virat. And similarly, U is superior to both are in the middle. And Evam Veda, one who meditates in this manner, using these common features, what is the phalam for him? Utkarshati havai jnana santatim. Jnana santatim means the totality of knowledge which you have. So because of the meditation on Hiranyagarbha, which is the Samashti Jnana Shakti, what happens? The Upasaka's totality of knowledge, Utkarshati, increases. Upasaka's Jnana Santatim, total knowledge which he has, Utkarshati, it increases because of his meditation on the knowledge principle, Jnana Shakti principle, which is Hiranyagarbha. And Samanascha Bhavati. So Samanascha here means Tulyam. He will be acceptable to everybody. For enemies also, he will be the same. For friends also, he will be the same. He will have no enemies and no friends. Or everybody will be friend. All will like him. And not only that, Asya Kule Abbrahmavit na bhavati. There will be nobody in his family, Asya Kule, in his family, na bhavati abbrahmavit. There will be nobody who is ignorant of Brahman. Which means every member of his family will at least know about Brahman because he talks constantly about Brahman only and family members cannot help hearing, right? So this is the Laukika Phalam, which is the worldly results. This is only incidental information because it is not relevant to moksha at all. And if the person is Nishkama Upasaka, it will help him in his Omkara Upasana. He will give him Chitta Shuddhi. Whenever he chants Om, the whole world will come to his mind. Whenever he goes into Akara, the silence, the whole world will resolve into that silence. Now we will look at mantra number 11. Let us chant. Sushuptasthanah prajna
Sushuptasthana
Prajna
makarastritiya matra
Karastritya Matra
miterapiterva
Miterva
minoti hava idam sarvam apituscha
Minoti
minoti hava idam sarvam apitischa bhavati
Minoti hava
Minoti idam sarvapitishya
ya evam veda.
Ya
evam veda.
So, Sushuptasthanaha Prajnaha. Prajna is the consciousness principle which is available in Sushupti Avastha. This is the third pada of Atma. And Makaras Tritiya Matra, it has to be equated to Makaraha. The Makaraha, the third Matra, Omkaraha. And Prajna. So, Prajna is at the Vyashti angle and Antaryami is at the Samashti angle. So what is being said? Makara is equal to Prajna. And two examples are given here to make us understand what is Makara. Miter apiter va. So you break it up into Mitehe apitehe va. Mitehe is a measuring glass, right? Okay. So what is the great idea? Why is measuring glass being compared over here? Because in the measuring glass, this measuring glass refers to the if you have seen in the very old kirana shops, they have wooden tumbler, a big tumbler, and when they give you the grain, they first pour the grain into the tumbler, and then it is poured back to you as the customer into your bag. Right? So this is being compared to that. So what is the idea? That when the grain is poured into the tumbler, the grain disappears into the tumbler and then reappears when it is poured out into your bag. Remember that comparison. In the kirana, when the kirana wala, when he takes out the grain for you, he pours it into the tumbler. So the grain disappears from your sight. And then he takes the tumbler and pours the grain to you in your bag, and the grain appears again. Therefore, Om is like that grain. Why? The and the U, the O, the first O, right? And who is O? The O disappears into the Ma, right? And then the O reappears where? From the Ma itself. Therefore, Om, right? So strictly speaking, there's an akara there, but that is not taken into the comparison over here. So the O disappears into the Ma and reappears from the Ma, just like the grain disappears into the tumbler, mitehe, and reappears from the tumbler. So Vishwa and Tajasa are the grains, and Prajna is the tumbler, the measuring glass. Vishwa and Tajasa disappear into Prajna during Sushupti and then re-emerge on waking up. The same thing, same idea is to be extended to Omkara. When we speak, all the sounds are audible. The is first, the U represents all other sounds. And when we close our mouth, the last sound is ma. So all the sounds emerge from the and then resolve into the ma. And out of that resolved ma, when you open your mouth again, all the sounds emerge. Therefore, the sound ma is like the tumbler, measuring glass. Therefore, makara and prajna serve as the dissolving ground for the others. That is the first one. So he says apitehe. Apitehe is the layasthanam, the resolution ground. Right? You can also derive it from the last example. When you say that makara and prajna serve as the resolution ground, the same idea is there. It is the apitehe. Okay. What is the phalam here? Minoti havai idam sarvam. Since he meditates upon mitehe, the measuring glass, what is measurement? Assessment. So he says the upasaka will be able to measure all situations and all people, which means he will be able to understand all situations correctly, and you can extend that. He will be able to understand Srishti itself, creation itself correctly. And the second phalam is apitehe, resolved into Ishvara as a result of the upasana. This is Ishvara Layaha. Right? Remember, this Ishvara Laya is not moksha because it is a phalam of upasana. What is the difference? Ishvara Laya dissolving to Ishvara is for one Srishti only. He will be born again in the next Srishti. So now the three padas have been dealt with. And we have to go to the fourth pada, the akara. But before that, Gaudapada uses the next few karikas to present a summary. So with this, we'll stop for today. Any questions?
Sir,
Haji,
the word mitehe means the measuring jar,
measuring glass.
and pitarva,
Pitar, up, you have to break it up. Mitehe va apite.
okay.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience. Om Om.
Thank you, Acharya.
Thank you, Raviji.
Om Om.
Thank you, Raviji. Thank